So I imported this 1990 Nissan Skyline GTR from Japan, and I discovered last week that you guys have a few questions about it. A lot of questions. 1,000 questions. So I've decided to answer a few of the most common questions by creating a little video that tells you a little bit more about my Skyline. I used to get this question all the time when I had my Ferrari, and it always kind of pissed me off because it's easy to find out what the Ferrari costs. Go on AutoTrader, type in Ferrari, that's what it costs. But there's no AutoTrader for imported Skyline, so I'll just come out and tell you. This car was in the low to mid $20,000 range, including the car, the shipping, all the import fees, and the taxes. Not bad for an icon. This is a 2.6 liter twin turbocharged inline six that makes 276 horsepower. Now, I put 276 in quotes because at the time there was this gentleman's agreement among all Japanese automakers to rate all high performance cars at 276 horsepower. So all your top Mitsubishis and Nissans and Subarus and Toyotas of the day all had 276 horsepower, regardless of how much power they actually had. Don't say I never taught you anything. This is the cleanest, most untouched, most unmolested R32 GTR you will ever see. Which means that yes, it does have several modifications. There is, for example, the exhaust, which is rather large. There's this big rear wing that kind of makes it look like a race car. There are these cool wheels that came straight off an R34 GTR to enhance my JDM street cred. There's also an aftermarket steering wheel, an aftermarket shift lever, and this aftermarket stereo that pops down to reveal a mini disc player. And here's another interesting modification. While all R32 GTRs came with four-wheel steering from the factory, this one has had the rear wheel steering removed. This is a common R32 GTR modification. Most owners find it to be unreliable, troublesome, and actually detrimental to the driving experience. Land Rover air suspension. Oh, and one more thing. This little sticker here says tuned by HKS. Even though there's no discernible evidence that this car was actually tuned by HKS. Actually, it's surprisingly boring. Let me show you what I mean. Ah, damn it. The center console and center stack are highly mid-90s Japanese car. It's functional, and functional. And while I would say the gauge cluster has some style, that just wouldn't be true. It's functional. There are functional gauges in the center, functional seats, functional seat belts, and a back seat that's highly functional if you're the size of a melon. Even the trunk is functional. It's just a trunk. You mean aside from the fact that it's Godzilla, one of the most iconic Japanese cars of all time, one of the most intriguing JDM enthusiast automobiles in the last 25 years? A few things. For one thing, there's this neat key that's so cool it kind of makes up for the fact that the car doesn't have keyless entry. There's this cool rear wiper, which is kind of unusual on a car with a trunk. There's also this cool front torque gauge that shows exactly when the all-wheel drive system is active and how much power is going to the front wheels. There's the general shape. The flared fenders, the wide stance, and one of the most iconic taillight and turn signal shapes of any modern vehicle. It's also surprisingly luxurious. There's power windows, power locks, power mirrors, even automatic climate control. And there's all this cool Japanese writing all over the place. Of course, I have no idea what any of it means. Oh, and one other thing, driving experience. We'll cover that in the next video. Damn it!